Hi, this is Nancy from the Mill Creek Senior Center. We are going to be doing a really fun painting of an autumn tree. And this is the basic framework that we will be working from for our tree. So in our kit, you have a nice heavy sheet of cardstock that you'll be working on. I went ahead and did this to kind of save time on the instructions. So you kind of get a picture of the framework that we need to then continue our painting. And you can put the tire swing here if you like. You could do, two lines coming down and put just a flat wood board seat swing. But I'm going to then show you now the basics of doing the tree trunk. I won't take the time to do all the little, you can just have as much fun as you want with the branches. And trees just grow any which way they want. But for the purposes of our painting, you probably will want to at least come up with your trunk and spread it out to cover the surface area. So on a piece of paper here, I'm going to show you the best way to kind of start out with your tree. You have in your kit a dark brown wash. It's a very watery paint that you will use for your tree trunk. And the nice thing about the wash is it's very thin. So when you put the colors on, as you come back and do different angles and stuff, it gives the appearance of bark and some depth and texture to the trunk of the tree. And so what I recommend is come up just, maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches to start the trunk. And you also will have a nice little brush in your kit. And you want to kind of say, okay, this is the center, kind of put my my finger there, and start doing the sides of the trunk. And I kind of start that way and then start filling it in. And with that being so watery, that wash, it just flows really nice. And this is kind of going to be where that goes into the ground, and it's not, a tree never goes into the ground flat. You've got roots coming out this way and that way. So just, have fun with it and make that base however you like. And as you layer in the different sections here, it starts giving the illusion of bark and depth, to that tree. And as it dries, like here I've got this dark spot. It's going to look like a knot in the tree trunk, which is great. You want to give it the character. One thing I failed to do with my wash is this is more black. So I need to stir it up a little. I got excited about doing the video and didn't get it stirred up. So make sure with your wash you shake the container or stir it up a little bit, because the paint will settle to the bottom. So now I'm going to come back in, and this will give a little more brown. And I want to wipe my brush off just a bit, kind of dab it so I don't have an excess when I come back in. There we go. So that kind of gives us some of the brown, and that adds more texture too, that we've got some of the lighter and some of the darker. And as I get up here a little further, I'm going to then start to split off and bring my main, big branches out to the side to kind of spread and fill the paper. And it's really fun. And I got a little heavy. I didn't lift up at the end of that stroke. So what I can do is I can come back in and kind of do a thinner stroke and start gently lifting my brush up as I flow out. That helps give you more of a point. And then, I can have a branch coming off of here this way, and another one down here that way, just whatever, feels good. And I can have smaller branches come off of each side there. It's fun. I love doing this. So then I can bring this branch out here and maybe curve it up this way a little bit, give it some character, have something coming off this way, and just flow with it. So that, take as much time as you want and fill in all these branches and kind of get the fullness you know, of the framework of the tree without any leaves on it. You can put in your tire swing, for example. This branch is flatter, it turned out on this one, so let's put it on this side. You just want to do a straight line down. Oops, I got a little too wide on that one, sorry. All right, so scratch that. I'm glad this is my sample paper. So come here. I probably need to wipe the paint off just a little so that doesn't get too thick, and I want to just get the point of it and come down with a thin line as straight as I can for my rope, and then I can work on doing, you know, the roundness here for the tire and spend some time getting that shaped out how I want. So hopefully you'll learn from my mistake here. Be sure to blot off the new where I dipped my paint in, otherwise you're going to get too thick of a line for the rope. You know, that would have been fine for one of the branches up in here. All right, in the next section we'll go back to my better framework of a tree there, and we will do the leaves, the autumn leaves. In your kit you have 3 different paint colors. You have orange, and you have yellow, and you have white. You also have some aluminum foil. You're going to crumble up that aluminum foil into kind of a little ball. Mine's kind of flat. I like to use a smaller piece because that way I feel like I have more control. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the orange. It's the darker of the 3. And I'm going to try to tap some of that off so it's not totally coated. And then I'm going to dab it over here to make sure I have an imprint that's not too heavy. And to me, you know, this is how it looks right now with this little bit of orange. I'm going to go with that because I like that. And so I'm going to go around and start making my leaves around the branches. And we want to start with the darker, and then we're going to layer in the lighter, the yellow. And I'm running out of orange here, so I'm going to go back and try to dab it off a little so it's not too heavy. Do a double check on your scrap paper to make sure you don't have, you know, more than you want. And then come back and make some more leaves. It is so much fun. And I always like to just double check on a sample piece of paper before I put it on the actual painting. So we're going to go through, I've got quite a bit on that. Because you don't want a big glob, you know, of orange. I want it to be light and airy and look more like the leaves. Oh, I kind of smeared that a little, but that's okay. When I come back over with my yellow, I can cover that up and it won't look as like it does right now. So this is just so much fun. You can, you know, spend as much time as you want filling it in, getting it as dense or as airy as you like. I'll just do a little bit more orange. And then we'll switch to the yellow. Or if you want just a totally orange color on your tree, you could go with that too. All right. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to come along what would be the line of the ground here and just put a few leaves in there to give the illusion of them having fallen off the tree and laying scattered around on the ground. And that's fun, fun, fun. I love it. And that got a little heavy, but we can kind of cover that up with some of the other colors and put a little around the base of the tree here. All right, and then next we'll go with the yellow. And again, I want to get it so it's not just totally saturated. And I can dab it on my paper just to double check on my scrap paper over here. Then I'm going to come back over top with some yellow. and continue that process till I get the look that I want for my tree. And keep stamping away. And if you don't have your aluminum foil crinkled exactly how you want it, you can, you know, get you a new piece of aluminum foil and kind of get it to the texture that you like. So I can spend, you know, more time working with that and just having lots of fun. And put a few yellow leaves down here at the bottom. And then we could come back in and do just the plain white, or we could do a light yellow and mix the two together. I think I'm preferring to mix the two, which I'm going to go ahead and do. So I just have a basic plastic knife, and I'm going to scoop up some of the white and bring it over here in the yellow and make a lighter yellow to kind of do some highlights on the tree. And if you want to get more technical, you could just say, okay, my sun is coming from this side or that side, and just do the highlight, you know, as a source of light on one side of the tree or the other. And then you could also come back in, if you're going to do it that way, and like put just a little bit of highlight on whichever side. If your sun's coming from here, kind of maybe a little highlight on the trunk. But you want to be real careful with that because it needs to blend in. It needs to be just a very, very soft touch with that, which I'm probably not going to do for this demonstration. But if you want to mess around and play around with it more, you can certainly do that. So here's the lighter. And we're just going to come in and kind of go over. And this gives it more depth too, that you've got the darker and the lighter all kind of blending together to make that look of a beautiful fall autumn tree. So if you have any questions or want to talk about this, feel free to call the Senior Center and they can connect you with me, and I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. And I'm glad you chose to do this craft. I think it's a fun one. Just put some of the lighter leaves down here. And we'll call it a day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.